Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is more bad business. This is the Sten revamp. The mighty Sten. The Sten Crushes Now. So as you can see from my attachments on the weapon itself, I'm using the, is it the 7.62? I'm using the damage mod conversion. Gives you 32 rounds and it gives you an absurd headshot bonus. This gun is good, guys. This gun is really good. It's the season of Chernobyl, which is the map we're playing on. And we're playing King of the Hill, which is pretty much my favourite setup on this map because the rotation is very strong when you know what you're doing. And I'm going to be defending the hill as best as I can, subverting the traffic and causing havoc. The attachments I'm using, as you can notice, I've got the monolithic suppressor on, I've got the coyote on, and I've got there's a stock that it comes with that gives you recoil control. The VSS stock for the AS Val really put me on the idea of stocks being a lot more useful than I thought they were. So I'm testing it out. This might not be the final Sten I end up using, but I'll tell you right now, guys, this gun is great. I was really looking forward to a different iron sight, because I know that, I think it was Ethan that remodeled this one, because it's an original model of his. And Ethan was one of the people that changed the AS Val to have different irons, which I think is the best thing about bad business. I was so excited to see if they changed the iron sight, and they didn't. Admittedly, I think that the iron sight for the Sten is one of the better ones, but me personally, I don't like looking through apertures. I don't like looking through rings, or hoops, or circles. I particularly despise it. It's one of my pet peeves with optics and iron sights in general. It's a preference thing. I can learn to use them, I choose not to. And the Sten is a criminal in that mind because it has one of those irons. But if you like it, it's very clear and it's very good. But to me, I'd rather run a coyote because the coyote does everything I need it to do. And I don't need the attachment space. I don't need any attachments really on this except for the ammunition. The ammunition is what makes this gun so much better. And to give you an idea, guys, I bought the Sten. It was my second weapon that I bought in the game. Because it was a weapon that you don't unlock. And once I bought the M4 on my first Prestige to piss off all the people that don't like the M4 and they don't like people pre-buying the M4, I went on to buying the prototype guns and the World War II guns. The first gun I bought was the SMO3 and I loved it. And then a year later they buffed it, which was insanity. And they've just nerfed it, thankfully, because it was way too good. And it was always good, but it got way too good real quick. Ironically enough, I didn't get a chance to use it either when it was way too good. I used it when it was just really good. And was definitely up there with Gaming Sam when it comes to being an SMO3 enthusiast when no one was using the gun. And then the second gun I used was the Sten, because it's what I bought. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Compared to the SMO3, I found the Sten to be very, very piss poor. It was just not as fun. It was good, it was fine, but it wasn't the SMO3. It didn't sound as good, it didn't hit as hard, it didn't even... Like, what does the Sten fire at? Is it 660? And the SMO3 600? So it fired a little bit faster, but it just didn't hit right. So I had a really horrible first exposure to the Sten, because I was comparing it to a prototype gun that was just amazing and had a super sexy reload. Now we fast forward several months, and we've got the revamp, which brings barrels, it brings all kinds of fun new attachments, we've got stocks, we've got grips, we've got ammunition types, we've got even an extended mag in the base magazine. They've gone from 30 rounds to 32, mirroring the actual Sten. And it also has a 44 round extended mag now, which unfortunately nerfs mobility because it turns out when you put extended bullets into a machine, it also comes with an anchor that is fitted around your waist and turns you into a slug, which is the opposite of fun game design and balance, but whatever, I guess we'll take it. And 44 rounds on the standard Sten at 660 fire rate is pretty good. It turns it into a very fun weapon. You can get some decent feeds, some decent flicks and have a good time. I'm almost shocked at how much fun I had with it, because I thought it was just going to fit into maybe the middle of the meta when it comes to SMGs and just be a nice, accurate, slow-firing World War II derivative. I say World War II, it might be World War I don't know the years on that. But then you look at it, look at the feed, guys. It looks like I'm cheating, look at all those headshots. And the reason for this is, the Sten has got really good range and really good damage. And it's got really good damage at range. So you can hit heads for 50 damage at like 200 studs. That's insane. That's some rolling block damage right there. It's madness to me. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they've made it like that, but I'm glad they have, because now it's a gun that's worth using and you'll see a lot more of it, because it's really good. When you can hit for 50 damage at that range, it's like you're using a FAL. You're using a FAL, but you don't have to individually press the trigger. It's nuts. And I don't know if they're going to nerf it. I hope they don't, because there's nothing wrong with things being strong. But my argument is make everything strong, you know? Make everything nasty. And my balance for bad business, if I was in charge, would be the AUG. The AUG is such a good gun. The AUG is one of those guns you put it on and you don't even know how you used anything else, because it kills. It kills at almost every range and it feels amazing. I don't know how it feels after the range changes, because I used it before the range changes, and I had a lot of fun with the AUG. It was my favourite gun for a long time. But that's the gun you should balance around. You balance around the strongest, you don't balance around the weakest. If you balance around the weakest, all your weapons feel like teabags. They all feel piss poor and shitty and no one wants to use them. And the problem when you have guns that don't feel exceptional is that they just get lost in the shuffle of guns that do. I was surprised everybody didn't use the AUG. Because to me, the AUG was the gun that when you put it on, it felt like every bullet landed. It felt like you were playing on Host. It felt like you were on hitscan, because you felt deadly with it. And then you'd put the P90 on and you felt like some blind, lost, stray puppy in the woods that's about to get eaten by an eagle. Because you just didn't do any damage. There's no damage to be done. It was insulting. And it's funny how those opinions shift and change when you play. Because I stopped using the AUG and I used other things, and then I came back to the P90 and it felt really good. And it's relative. It's relative to what you're using. Like, can you imagine if you put the SMO3 on when it was super broken, when they buffed its damage and its range? If you use that gun every game, can you imagine going back to the normal gun, sorry? You go from doing 45 damage with no recoil to the body at a decent range, to doing nothing and having to hit them a bunch of times. You go from a potential 3-bullet kill to like 5 and 6-bullet kills. It's going to turn the whole game into like a misery simulator. And it's because you hoard the meta and exploited a broken gun. And that's one of the problems with using something like the strongest gun in the game every game, and that's all you use. You ruin the rest of the guns for yourself, and you also stunt your development, because if you never try weaker guns and inferior playstyles, you'll never improve. Unlike the Sten, which now it's been revamped, is legitimately threatening and very dangerous.